They call me promise that you never be lonely.
Alright guys, I've done a lot of research on the topic, and this is on Savannah monitor care. Now, this is the entire setup. It's an 8x4, I believe, or a 6x4, one of the two. But a lot of misconception is that when you feed Savannah monitors, they are strictly insectivores, which they are not. Because due to where they are found in the region they're found, they do primarily eat bugs, but also will eat anything. They are opportunistic hunters. And mine never eats one thing every day. Like today he's getting superworms. Usually I feed him tilapia fillets. I give him whole fish. I try to lean away from rodents, as he was only fed rodents as a baby, which I know is not good. He was heavily overweight. But I'm gonna say that feeding a mixed variety makes your Savannah monitor healthy and happy. This guy, he eats nonstop. He is crazy about his food, and he would eat anything and as much as I'd want to feed him, but I don't feed him a lot because I don't want him to get overweight again. And dusting the rodents or any type of food you're feeding your Savvy is always a need, but not all the time is good. A couple times a week I dust it and give him vitamins and also calcium. But usually what I do is I just give him a variety. I keep this guy outside year round because I live in Florida, and yes, it gets cold, but from doing research and seeing that in Africa it actually gets close similar to the temperatures as it does in Florida. As where these animals need high humidity, I provide that very easily. See, down there is mesh wire, not entire cage has substrate in it. So I made this 2x2 box and put a hide on it to where he can dig. When it rains here in Central Florida, it gets very humid. And Florida is, I could say these are next to the best thing to have alongside tegus in Florida to keep outside. But this guy, he eats crazy amounts. And like, I'll be honest, Savannah monitors aren't for the weak of heart. They eat a lot of food. But they're good pets because they show a level of intelligence which is unreal. I have to say, arguably, Savannah monitors are up there in intelligence with tegus. Tegus can tolerate more, but Savannah monitors are probably one of the smartest lizards. Yeah. Now, I made this cage myself. It has a sliding top. It works perfect for the Savvy because I feel like even though they do not require UV because they are a burrowing species, they should always have the option to get it. And there's no better way for me than to let him bask on a hot piece of concrete slab in the hot sun. I could say you could probably keep Savannah monitors out year-round, as because they are a burrowing species, you would just need a deep enough substrate for them to be able to dig down. And what I did to make it at night is, in this cord right here, it goes, I know heat rocks aren't usable for most reptiles because they will burn the stomachs of your reptile. But I figured out a way. If you have old heat rocks laying around and don't want to spend the money and go buy new heat pads, as I did, what I did was I buried it a solid 6 to 7 inches under where he would lay, and it heats the dirt up around it and keeps it warm, but does not burn your lizard. You could do this with lizards, leopard geckos, bearded dragons, even snakes. I've done it for one of my boas, and it works fantastic because it heats the surroundings around the animal. It doesn't just heat a specific area. Well, water dish, I give them optional for this right here is all rainwater. That's why it looks kind of spunky because I let it fill, and then what I do is I have a container on the side of the house that collects the rainwater because it's always better. But back to what I was saying is Savannah monitors, without the question of a doubt, can be some of the greatest pets in the world. Personally, keeping them outside, yeah, they don't get as friendly, but they're entertaining to watch. Like, I'll see this guy try to chase down little anoles that try to get into his cage, and he'll have a blast. I mean, handling him, yeah, it's a little bit iffy. He hisses, but he's very gentle. He doesn't whip, he doesn't bite. And yeah, Savannah monitor, make sure you're prepared, because I've seen too many Savannah monitors, especially like this guy. When I just got him, he was so obese to the point he could hardly walk because all he was fed was rodents. And he has stunning colors. He actually has green on his front leg. Like right now, he's still recovering from stuck shed problems, but I mean, he should be able to get that patched up very quickly. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, you just let me know. And for anyone that would question the bedding, it's a mixture of scent, cypress mulch, and a little bit of topsoil. It's perfect consistency, and he doesn't need to dig. You do not have to have a deep enough substrate for Savannah to dig. What you can do is, if you can't provide the space for a Savannah monitor to dig, this right here is an all concrete hide. Make a hide that's tight enough to where he can get in there and it's dark and make him feel secure, but to where it's a challenge for you to get him out of it. If you provide that, your Savannah monitor won't dig as much because he hasn't dug in this cage hardly at all. And the only time he's dug is to get closer to the heat rock. That's it. So if you guys have, I can give you the facts on Savannah monitor. This is just from me doing research, reading, listening to other people that have Savannah monitors, and also my personal experience. Anyone that has them, you should always keep your animals outside. It's just the best. If you can't keep them outside, well, do your best that you can inside. There you go, bud. It's always good to train your savvy on tongs, no matter what you're feeding, because I've seen people get bit so much because they don't train their savvy on tongs. What I do to get my savvy trained is, when I'm going to feed him, I'll click the tongs, and when I'm done, I'll snap my finger, and he knows when I snap my finger. See, he knows I'm done feeding him. And a cool tip, when you have them outside and you want to keep them out year round, for people that live in Texas, the lower parts of Texas that doesn't snow, the Panhandle, Florida, the lower Georgia, what you can do is you have the little rock underneath. It's in the back corner there. And what I've done is I built a box. It has a cord on it. What I did was I put a basking bulb in here, because he's still small enough where he only needs one. I put a basking bulb in here and centered it. And the way this cage is designed is, when it slides, there's two sections. This fits perfectly in this section here. And I leave it on for during the day. If the temperatures get below, I'd say below the mid 60s, I turn it on. Because Savannah monitors in Africa, it does get to the low 60s, but I mean, by then they'd usually be burying. So what this does is a double heat source. He gets the opportunity to bask and still get UV rays during the day when it's hot, but still gets the belly heat from the heat rock underneath, and also has that light warms the concrete up to where he can tolerate to be underneath and outside year round for me. That just works for me in Florida. I've been doing it for like almost a year now, and I haven't had any problems. So if you guys want an update on them, you just let me know.
That's what they call me. Promise that you never be lonely.